Welcome to the X Corner. I'm still here adding a little mutation to the Superhero Crew. I'll be covering the X comics for the week of April 18th, 2018. This week we have only 3 comics: Cable 156, Weapon X16, and X-Men Gold 26. Spoilers, of course. We'll start with Cable 156. The writers are Lonnie Nadler and Zach Thompson. And once again, Marvel.com lied about who wrote this. They said it was regular writer Ed Brisson. Unless the credits page is wrong. Well, at least they got the penciler right. It was Jermaine Peralta. So we're treated to a flashback issue where Cable is first escaping to the future with Hope to get away from Bishop, who thinks she will bring the apocalypse to the mutants, as seen in the Messiah Complex, Messiah War, Second Coming series of stories. Little Hope is asking a lot of questions, and they eventually stumble across a camp with what I assume are cannibals. Just when all looks dire, Bishop shows up to try and kill Hope, but ends up getting Cable and her out of the trouble they're in. This is a running theme of the issue. After nearly killing Bishop, Hope and Cable run away, and we are then sent into a flashback within a flashback. This time to Cable's boyhood, as he's being trained by Cyclops and Jean Grey, as seen in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix miniseries. Back to the original flashback, it is morning and Cable starts training Hope to shoot guns to protect herself. They then stumble across an old abandoned gas station, where the current techno-organic villain shows up to ruin Cable's day. Once again, Bishop shows up and tries to kill Hope, but mistakenly saves her again. He's not very good at killing children. Once again they escape, and Cable has to teleport them to another time. This comic went from something I was nearly dropping to an amazing story. This flashback tale, filling in the gaps to the Second Coming story arc, is perfect. It slots in the new villain without making it seem like he wasn't always there. A great feat in my book. Cable trying to answer Hope's questions is hilarious. She first asks if everyone has someone who looks like them. This is a twofold joke, since Cable has an evil clone named Strife, whom they are escaping from. He explains this, and the fact that he sort of looks like his half-brother Nate Grey also. It's also funny because Hope looks just like Jean Grey, but that was all a red herring for people who thought it was Jean resurrected, when the Second Coming arc happened. Then she asks about Cable's parentage, which is funny to us X-fans, as it is the most convoluted thing ever. He is Cyclops and a clone of Jean Grey's son, who got sent into the future because he was infected by the techno-organic virus, thus giving him a metal arm. He was raised by Slim and Red, who he later found out were Cyclops and the real Jean Grey, come from the past to make sure he was raised right. Anyway, the art was good, and the story was interesting, so as long as they can keep up with these two simple things, I'm still in. Rating 8.5 out of 10. Then there's Weapon X number 16. The writers are Fred Van Lente and Greg Pak, and the pencilers are Andrea Sorrentino and Roland Boschi. So we continue the fight between Logan, who's gone berserk, and Sabretooth, who isn't treating the fight with any seriousness, even when he's being killed. The berserk Logan gets the upper hand on Sabretooth, who then releases the monsters from the cages they've been fighting amongst. Turns out this is Amadeus Cho's ship, and these monsters he captured. Is that from the Monsters Unleashed series? I don't know. And it doesn't matter much, as Logan and Sabretooth murdered them all. Logan snaps out of his rage long enough to tell Sabretooth about what happened to him from the Old Man Logan future. We are then presented with a gorgeous flashback to the Wastelands, where Logan stumbles across an animalistic Sabretooth, who is killing people for food. More cannibals. He quickly dispatches Sabretooth, and the lesson is that it isn't the animal side that makes Sabretooth dangerous, it's the human side. Just as you might think Sabretooth learned a lesson, the clock strikes midnight, implying they've been fighting for 24 hours, I guess, and Sabretooth just leaves to get a beer. Warpath shows up right then, and asks why Logan tolerates Sabretooth, and Logan explains he has hopes that people can change, and also it's good to have a killer like him on their side. Let's just address the elephant in the room. There are 2 writers and 2 artists. Fred Van Lente obviously added the heart to this issue, that elevated it above just Logan and Sabretooth killing monsters that they try and kill themselves. Greg Pak is good in other places, but his place isn't here. Give Fred Van Lente the book, and be done with it. Secondly, there's the art. The regular artist, who I have to assume is Sorrentino, was very sketchy and abstract. I'm sure it was a style choice, but from the first page on, I felt like it was just incomplete. Then we get to the Old Man Logan flashback, however, and that stylistic choice killed it. This snicked panel is something I'd want on my wall. Beautiful. Overall, I felt like this in the last issue could have been a one-shot, like most of the Logan Sabretooth birthday stories, but it wasn't bad. There were weird choices to be sure, but overall I didn't hate it. I just hope the next issue isn't the team landing somewhere and start murdering everything. 6.5 out of 10. Lastly, we have X-Men Gold 26. The writer is Mark Guggenheim and the penciler is Diego Bernard. It's flashback week here at X-Corner as we start this comic with 1-2. We have Kitty remembering back to the first time she met Peter, and he called her Katya. She snaps to the present as her and Peter are discussing their engagement, if they are having cold feet. It turns out they're just really busy, as even now they're currently on a sting to catch Mesmero. Mesmero shows up and Rachel engages him, but is knocked for a loop. Nightcrawler jumps in and teleports Mesmero to who holds him up so a badass looking Storm in her Goddess of Thunder garb lightnings him. Rachel has a flash forward as a hound killing Nightcrawler, so we'll see where that goes. Mesmero then gets sent to supervillain jail, and we catch up with Nance and her nanite sentinel named Alpha as they walk around their new Savage Land base. She implies that the war between humans and mutants is coming, and lots of rich humans are on her side. We then find out Kitty and Peter have set a date, and the boys bring Peter to Vegas for a bachelor party. I guess there will be a wedding special that goes into more detail here, but needless to say, Peter isn't into it. He goes to the bathroom and is attacked by Alpha. Nance has plans for Colossus, and we assume it's to do with the legacy virus he cured and died for before. This was a fun issue that jumped all over the place, but needed to be there to set the stage for the next set of stories. I like how a prepared X-Team took down Mesmero pretty easily, showing that they don't always lose to these second-tier villains. I do hope Peter and Kitty's wedding happens, but there is a big chance for Marvel to screw it up, and maybe even kill Peter again. We'll see. Not much more to say, other than I do love that Kitty has a full-sized Rogue poster in her office for some reason. I understand the group pictures, but why the Rogue pinup? Very odd. That's about it for this issue though. No big reveals or moments. I guess they all can't be epic, and I appreciate them doing an issue like this. 7 out of 10. Overall a solid week. The only letdown was the art in Weapon X, but other than that, not bad. It occurs to me that if I had dropped Cable and Weapon X before, I'd have only one comic to talk about this week. I guess I should get to doing some extra content to fill in for these short weeks. Next week we won't have that problem though. And hey, speaking of cancelling books, XL number 2 is coming out. See what happens next.